Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we'll be going through the 2004 comedy romance film The Girl Next Door. It's time to recall. Let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The film begins in a high school where the seniors take photos for their yearbook. Everyone recites their own experiences and the crazy stuff they did in high school, but a student named Matthew can't find something to recite because he spent his high school years as an ordinary student. He doesn't even have a girlfriend or tried anything reckless. He reminisced when he got the acceptance letter for the Georgetown University scholarship and how proud his parents were. Matthew is the student council president in his high school. He announces that he could raise 25 grand to bring a genius student named Sam Nang out of Cambodia to study here at Westport. After the announcement, he looks at the popular seniors and wonders how they skip class and have fun with their girls. So Matthew tells his friends Klitz and Eli that he wants to join the popular seniors on the beach and skip the class like they do. But he goes alone after his friends back off. He gets into his car and drives after them, but a police officer runs after Matthew and asks him to pull over. But Matthew doesn't listen to the officer and wants to do something reckless eventually. The officer's car crashes into a tragic accident, but it turns out that Matthew hasn't moved his car. He was just imagining things. After school, Matthew goes home and notices a strange car outside. When he enters his house, he finds Mr. and Mrs. Peterson sitting next to his parents. He tells them that he's working on his speech to get the scholarship for Georgetown, and they give it to the student who best demonstrates moral fiber. At night, Matthew practices on his speech even while taking the trash outside, but he sees a hot girl getting out of the car he saw this morning. He can't take his eyes off her, and he hits the trash can. Then Matthew gets back into his room and talks about that girl with Eli, saying she's incredibly hot, and when he's on the phone, he sees that girl across the window in her room changing her clothes. When she takes her underwear off, he hangs up the call and keeps staring, but she catches him peeping on her. She goes to his parents and they call their son. His mom introduces the girl named Danielle to Matthew, and it turns out that she didn't tell the parents about him peeking into her room. She just said that she came from LA and house sitting at her aunt's house who lives next door. Then Mom asks Matthew to show Danielle around. Danielle drives her car with Matthew. She doesn't talk and pulls over far away. She makes him strip off in the street, including his underwear, to be even. She then picks up his underwear and drives off, leaving him alone naked on the road. Minutes later, she returns and picks him up after getting her revenge. They go to a diner and they share their lives with each other. Danielle says that she quit her job and wants to start over. When Matthew asks her if she has a boyfriend, she says no. Then she asks him about the craziest thing he's done lately, and she figures out that he hasn't done anything. She learns he's single. Danielle tells him that he needs someone cute, makes him laugh, and pushes him forward. She draws herself and tells him someone who looks like this. She then drives him back home. When he's about to leave, he hesitates and doesn't kiss her even though she expects a kiss. The following day, Matthew tells his friends about what happened last night. Eli makes fun of him and calls him gay because he didn't take the chance to bang her, and Matthew realizes when it's too late that he should have kissed her. When the class starts, Matthew looks from the window and sees Danielle waiting for him. He skips the class and goes with her to hang out. Matthew starts skipping class and spends more time with her. One day, Matthew shows Danielle a picture of Sam Nang, saying he's a genius and might cure cancer in the future. She realizes how kind Matthew is, then she drives him to an anonymous house and breaks in first. When he follows her, he sees her taking her clothes off and dips into the pool. Matthew joins her, and she asks him what's the craziest thing he's done lately. While she's smiling, he says it's right up here. When they're about to kiss, the owner of the house appears, and it turns out it's Matthew's school principal. So they both run away, and the principal notices them running. Then they go to Eli's house, and Matthew introduces his friends to Danielle. His friends are blown away by how hot she is. The following night, the group goes to attend a party hosted by a popular student named Derek. All the students are blown away and stare at Danielle. When Derek's friend Hunter sees Matthew and Danielle together, he makes Derek kick Matthew out of the party, telling him that the party is full. But Matthew is fed up acting the nice guy, and when he sees the boys making out with the girls at the party, he goes to Danielle and kisses her passionately where everyone can see them. The following day at school, Eli shows Matthew a pornographic video. To Matthew's surprise, he sees his girlfriend starring in that video. Matthew gets jealous and mad at how the actors are touching her body. When he leaves the room, Eli runs after him and tells her that since she's a porn star, he should take her to a motel and bang her, but Matthew tells him that he doesn't want to see her again. When Matthew goes home, he sees Danielle there sitting with his mom. He pictures her having an orgasm while she's talking normally. Even when his dad comes, Matthew imagines her unzipping his dad's pants and blowing him, and then he pictures her making out with his mom. He then snaps out and goes to his room. She follows him up and asks him what she can do to make him feel better. He looks at the bed and pictures her having sex with him. He snaps out of it and tells her that they're hanging out tonight. At night, Matthew takes Danielle to a cheap motel with a bottle to make her drunk. She realizes that Matthew has figured out that she's a porn star. Danielle strips and asks him, "Is this what you want?" Then Danielle gets mad and tells him that she didn't tell him about her past because she loved how he looked at her like a normal person. Then she leaves him and goes home. The days go by and Matthew can't get over it, and one day he goes to visit Danielle to apologize, but when he gets inside her house he sees a strange man, so he goes outside. The man went outside as well and told him that he admired the way Matthew showed his affection to Danielle. Then he introduces himself as Kelly. The three of them went to a strip club, though Matthew had no clue. When they sit at a table and order their drinks, Matthew asks them how they met each other and learns that Kelly is a porn director who works with Danielle. When he sees Kelly lighting up a cigar, he asks him for one and smokes it for the first time. To Matthew's surprise, he sees Mr. Peterson in the strip club and tells Kelly about him, but Kelly calls Peterson, who's shocked seeing Matthew there, and Kelly makes Peterson buy Matthew a lap dance. Later at school, the teacher plays a sex educational video for the students to raise their awareness of having sex with no protection, but Matthew and his friends don't like that video because it's lame, old-fashioned, and the quality is too bad. After the class, Matthew sees Kelly at the school talking with the senior girls, then the group goes with Kelly and gets into his sports car. Kelly tells them about his idea of shooting a porn video at the prom, saying it will sell so hard. Later, Matthew goes with Kelly to the bank and speaks with Jeannie, the front desk employee. Kelly learns that Matthew raised $25 grand for Sam Nang. Jeannie asks Matthew who is the man with him. He introduces Kelly to her as his student advisor, and Kelly flirts with Jeannie and she responds clumsily. The following day, Matthew goes to visit Danielle, but he sees her with Kelly preparing to go to LA for a porn convention. He asks her what about her starting over. She seems sad and says this is who she is. At night, Matthew gathers his friends and they decide to go to the convention in LA. When they get inside the convention, they see the porn stars dancing and giving autographs to their fans. Eli has a recording camera with him and starts shooting, but the security confronts him, saying no press allowed. Eli says he's a high school student doing a project. Then they see Danielle learning that her porn star name is Athena. Matthew goes to her and apologizes, saying she's the best thing that happened in his life. Danielle feels sad and gets off the stage. On their way, she meets another porn director named Hugo. He tells her that she should be with him instead of Kelly, but Kelly interferes and dismisses Hugo. Matthew also interferes and tells Kelly that Danielle doesn't want to be here, but Kelly takes Matthew into a storage room and threatens him to stop filling Danielle's mind with these thoughts, which will ruin Kelly's business. But Matthew doesn't give up and goes after Danielle, though it's getting late and he has the scholarship dinner tomorrow. When Klitz and Eli sit and wait for Matthew, a porn star asks them who they are. Eli lies, saying that he is a porn director, so the girl asks them to take part in their next movie. She tells her buffed boyfriend Mule about it, therefore Mule starts marketing for his girl. So Eli uses her in his next film and makes them feel his girlfriend's breasts, saying they cost him a lot. But the security tells Mule those are just high school students and laughs. So the kids run away immediately, and Matthew goes to Danielle and hands her a paper saying she's better than this and goes home. Danielle opens the paper and sees her drawing on her first day with Matthew. On the following day, Matthew practices his speech in his room and gets surprised seeing Danielle knocking on his door. She gives him a ride to his school and thanks him for believing in her. He asks her to go to prom with him and she agrees. During the class, Matthew keeps reading his speech and suddenly Kelly shows up in the class and he's furious. He breaks in and grabs Matthew outside to his car. They drive far away on the highway. Kelly tells Matthew that Danielle didn't show up on set because of him. Now Kelly lost 30 grand, and Matthew has to pay him back. When Matthew tells him that he doesn't own that money, Kelly beats him up so hard, Kelly makes Matthew take a pill so he doesn't feel the pain. Kelly says he will leave Matthew and Danielle alone, but under one condition. Then he walks with Matthew and tells him about Hugo, how Hugo took Kelly's ideas and girls and made millions out of it, and the condition is to steal Hugo's award that should have belonged to Kelly. They break into Hugo's house to steal the award, but Kelly backs off and leaves Matthew alone. He also calls the police and reports it and runs away. Meanwhile, Matthew finds the award and steals it, but to his surprise, he sees Hugo there. Hugo commands his parrot to chase Matthew, but Matthew manages to escape the situation and hides from the coming police. He calls Klitz, and he comes and gives Matthew a ride, but strangely, Matthew keeps touching Klitz in a weird way. Danielle gets out of Matthew's house with his suit, and she dresses him up on their way to the scholarship dinner, and she tells him that Kelly gave him ecstasy. Matthew freaks out, but the ecstasy starts calming him down. When Matthew enters the dinner hall, his heart beats faster and the drug takes a huge effect on him. He starts touching everyone he meets and goofily smiles. He even kisses one of his competitors, and Danielle laughs at him, then he starts dancing for no reason. When the speech starts, Matthew laughs at the other's speech. When his turn comes, he can't read because of the drugs, so he improvises his speech, saying moral fiber is about finding someone you really care about, and if you find her, you risk it all for her and put her always in the first place of your life. He looks at Danielle and finishes his words. The audience applauds, and when it comes to the winner announcement, another student wins, and Danielle feels bad for her boyfriend. The next day, Matthew goes to Jeannie at the bank to withdraw and close his account, but Jeannie tells him that his advisor took the 25 grand. He freaks out because he introduced Kelly before as his advisor. Matthew gets mad and blames her for not taking the advisor's ID or even Matthew's permission, but Jeannie acts up and says she will give him a chance till Monday or else he will be in trouble and she will be fired or even jailed if the bank manager figures it out. Matthew runs to Danielle's house and tells her about what happened. They plan for an idea to get them out of trouble, so Matthew goes to Eli and Klitz to perform his plan. Eli agrees, but Klitz refuses until Eli tells Klitz they are a tripod. If someone falls, the three of them fall together, and Klitz agrees. The following day, Matthew goes with Danielle to get her friends who work as porn stars, then Matthew brings the award back to Hugo in person, and they agree that Hugo will pay Matthew 25 grand by Sunday if Matthew gets this job done. On the prom day, Matthew and his friends, including the working team, record everything. They get Danielle for the prom with her two porn star friends, April and Ferrari, and then the group goes to the prom. Matthew looks at Hunter with his friends and tells Eli those are the actors. Then Eli manages to get to the class with the team. When Hunter sees Matthew with his girlfriend, he approaches him, and Matthew asks her to give them a moment alone. Before she leaves, she kisses Matthew, making a scene. Then Hunter asks Matthew about the girls he brought with him. Matthew tells them that they're porn stars and asks them if they want to take part in a movie. Matthew brings the three of them and makes them practice their script, and accidentally, Derek drops a photo release document on the floor. When they reach the class, Matthew tells Derek the party is full, like Derek did earlier, and dismisses him. The rest get into the room to start filming. Matthew goes back to Danielle. They smile and dance together during the prom. Meanwhile, his team works in silence secretly, and Derek manages to join them. The head of the teachers finds the photo release paper and asks Matthew about it, but Matthew acts like he has no clue. While dancing, Danielle thanks Matthew for letting her have her first prom. She kisses his hand, but one of the team members interrupts them, saying there's a problem. When Matthew goes to the filming location, he discovers that Derek has a sexual problem and can't perform. They look for a substitute, but no one wants to help, so Matthew decides to do it himself. Since it's his problem, Matthew changes his clothes and prepares to start filming, but the head of the teachers catches them up and yells, "Who's in charge of this?" but no one answers. But it turns out that Matthew imagined things when he was in the changing room. He's hesitant, but when he sees the lipstick on his hand because of Danielle's kiss, he changes his mind, saying he will dismiss the whole project and take the consequences alone. But Klitz volunteers, saying he will do it. They finish filming without getting caught and celebrate with champagne in the limo. They take everyone home, and when it's Matthew and Danielle only in the car, she asks him what's the craziest thing he's done lately. They kiss and have sex for the first time in his car. When Matthew arrives home in the morning, Eli calls him, panicking, saying the tape is gone. But when Matthew enters the house, he sees Kelly holding the videotape and sitting with the parents and the principal. Kelly asks him to have a word alone with Matthew, and they leave him. Then Kelly tells the kid that he stole his idea, but Matthew doesn't react and says Hugo will deal with Kelly, also says that Hugo is his partner 50-50. When Kelly tells him that he will take Matthew's half, Matthew tells him that the money belongs to Sam Nang, who Kelly stole his money. Kelly threatens Matthew he will show his parents the tape, and Matthew doesn't have a problem and lets him do what he wants. When the parents and the principal watch the tape, they figure out that it's a sex educational video, and it's way better than the one the schools are using. The parents congratulate Matthew on his work, and so does the principal. The idea goes viral and sells so hard, making Matthew rich, and Matthew writes in his yearbook that he will always remember the three legs of the tripod: his business partner Hugo, his student advisor Kelly, whom Matthew sent a pack of cigars to. Then Matthew meets Sam Nang. He tells him he better cure cancer, and Eli has gone a professional director and has made his own educational seminars. Klitz, who hit his face while filming, apparently has a huge rod that makes him feel better about himself. Then Matthew can afford his expenses to apply for Georgetown and has the girl next door, Danielle, always with him. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.